Next on Worcester News Tonight, an emotional day in court for the family of an Assumption College graduate as their daughter's killer is sentenced. And country music invades Worcester. Two big music stars take the stage in central Massachusetts. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Madison. A Massachusetts teenager who raped and killed his high school math teacher could now spend the rest of his life behind bars. Today, Philip Chism was sentenced to life in prison. Family and friends of Colleen Ritzer's family gave emotional testimony in court before he was sentenced. Chism was 14 years old when he committed the heinous crime. Now, Ritzer was a teacher at Danvers High School and graduated from Assumption College here in Worcester. After the sentencing, Colleen Ritzer's parents had some harsh words about the case. Under Massachusetts state law, a minor convicted of murder cannot receive life without parole. Our Alicia Rodriguez has that story.
Today's sentence is unacceptable and the laws must be changed.
Just 2 months after Colleen Ritzer was brutally killed by her 14-year-old student Philip Chism, state law changed and juveniles could no longer be sentenced to life without parole under any conditions.
Based upon the testimony we heard in this case, we and many others believe that the juvenile mind is capable of distinguishing right from wrong.
Colleen's family, friends, students, and those who admired her have been given a life sentence without parole, but not the individual who committed the heinous act.
After serving 40 years, Philip Chism, who will be 54, will be eligible for parole.
We will have to relive that day with every hearing. As Tom and I age, Colleen's brother and sister, Dan and Laura, will assume this responsibility. However, we want to be very clear. At every parole hearing, our family's voice, Colleen's voice, will be heard.
The Ritzer family says that this isn't just justice for Colleen, it's justice for all families who have lost someone in such a tragic way. They say they plan on petitioning the governor as well as continuing to put pressure on the Supreme Judicial Court to change the law. Reporting in Salem, Massachusetts, Alicia Rodriguez, Worcester News Tonight.
Here in Worcester, Garth Brooks is back in the city for the first time since the 1990s. Brooks and his wife Tricia Yearwood are at the DCU Center, which is sure to be rocking all weekend. It's the performance country music fans have been waiting for.
I'm very excited to be here. Garth Brooks is absolutely my all-time favorite. My kids grew up listening to him. They knew him before they even knew who he was.
Tonight, they packed the DCU Center to see Garth Brooks and Tricia Yearwood.
Afternoon. No applause necessary.
Earlier today, the two got a warm welcome at their press conference, performing in Worcester for the first time in almost 20 years.
Great to be back. We did this before Boston in the 90s. Came here and then went down to, what was that, the Fleet Center then.
A lot has changed since the last time Garth Brooks came to Worcester, but the country stars say they're still the same. And Brooks was quick to point out he's familiar with Worcester's proper pronunciation.
These people are quick to set you straight when you get here early about how to pronounce the name. And it's good. I love this place.
I think it's kind of a misconception that only in the South or in Texas that there are country fans. They really are everywhere. So my experience over the last 25 years has been that there's a lot of people up in the Northeast who love country music.
Judging by Friday's crowd, that population may only be growing.
Have you ever attempted a New England accent?
No. No, I'm from Oklahoma. Where would I even find it, you know?
Now, in addition to the concerts this weekend, Garth Brooks will actually be at a camp tomorrow at Clark University with Patriots player Nate Solder. Now, also in Worcester, a man who was arrested, his arrest caused police to shut down part of Southbridge Street yesterday, is also wanted in several other break-ins in the city. Our Patricia Nicholas was in court today and has a look at the charges.
38-year-old Hubbardston Muniz is arraigned in Worcester Central District Court Friday morning. He was arrested in connection to a house break-in in Auburn where a firearm and jewelry were stolen. He is facing numerous charges.
Larceny of a firearm, carrying a firearm without a license that's loaded, possession of a large capacity firearm, larceny over $250.
Muniz was caught on surveillance video in the Auburn home. Prosecutors say this isn't his first time. He's a suspect in more than 30 burglaries in Central Mass in the last 5 years. Authorities credit the surveillance video for catching him.
In this case particularly, it definitely helped us solve the case. We would have would have had a difficult time because the perpetrator was wearing gloves. He had on shoes that didn't have a discernible tread pattern. So basically, the video was a key to us identifying, the suspect.
Muniz was arrested Thursday in Worcester. Police shut down Southbridge Street for a short time. The arrest was a collaborative effort between several police departments. Prosecutors say Muniz was already under grand jury investigation after a 2015 search warrant at his home recovered thousands of suspected stolen items. On Thursday, none of the stolen items from the Auburn home were recovered.
We moved the property to other places, whether, there were pawn shops or possibly other elements or other people in the city that it was moved to.
Muniz's lawyer says he is suffering from leukemia. The judge set bail at $20,000 on the Auburn charge, but he was held without bail stemming from a previous issue.
It's a person that needs to be off the street, in our opinion.
Patricia Nicholas, Worcester News Tonight.
Residents in Worcester and Shrewsbury are being urged to avoid the water at Lake Quinsigamond because of sewage from yesterday's sewer main break. City officials say repairing the sewer main on Shrewsbury and Belmont Street caused a pump station to overflow sewage into the lake overnight. The public is asked to stay out of the water for the time being. Crews will test the water while also working to complete the repairs on Shrewsbury Street. Dealing with crisis situations is a critical element for any police officer. This past week, more than 20 of them received advanced training for some unique encounters they might have on the job. Our Tim McCone has a look at how the Worcester Police Department is trying to help better prepare its police force.
25 members of the Worcester Police Department take part in a week-long training program designed to teach them how to de-escalate crisis situations, especially those involving the mentally ill.
We don't want to have a situation where somebody is misreading a action or a behavior and taking a response that isn't the appropriate response to de-escalate it.
The curriculum included classroom instruction, presentations, and was specifically tailored to Worcester. Police say being able to de-escalate situations involving mentally ill individuals is critical for any officer.
The typical put the knife down with a gun pointed at them doesn't work for everybody, especially those with mental illness. And we have to understand, well, why is this individual not complying with us? Well, he may be mentally ill, he may be paranoid, he may not know who we are.
Police also learned how to deal with other conditions they may encounter and more about what local resources are available.
You can't underestimate how important it is. For example, getting to a home where there's been domestic violence and there are children in trauma. How do you deal with the children in trauma to make sure that they're going to be all right?
That was our Tim McCone reporting. Now, the training is not required for the officers. 25 more are lined up to take part in the next 40-hour training session. We're learning new information about the fatal car accident on Route 62 earlier this week that killed a teenager. The Telegram's reporting that 17-year-old Brittany Murch and her brother were wearing their seatbelts at the time of the accident. The investigation is ongoing. Brittany died after the car she was driving struck a tree on Route 62 Wednesday morning while she was on her way to school. Her younger brother Griffin is being treated for serious injuries. A candlelight vigil in Brittany's honor was held last night. Under a city ordinance, dogs aren't allowed in Worcester parks, but man's best friend and their owners may be a little closer to getting their own places to play. Our Brittany Schaefer has the story.
Worcester may be one step closer to seeing their very first dog park. At their meeting Thursday, the Department of Public Works and Parks said the master plan is expected to come out in April.
In April, what we'll do is we'll come forward with a number of recommendations that will need to go to both the Parks Commission and the City Council for approval.
Assistant Commissioner Rob Antonelli says many Worcester residents don't want their neighborhood to have the dog-friendly park.
The concept really is to have a number of them, a number of different styles, a number of different types, allow dogs into some of our facilities on leash.
Currently, the city's animal control ordinance does not allow dogs in city parks, beaches, or schoolyards, even while on leash. Antonelli says in Worcester there are more than 6,000 registered dogs and possibly 2,000 more unregistered.
They need a dog park in Worcester because there's so many folks with dogs and it's a city. So, you can walk the dogs on the streets, but the dogs are social animals.
Boynton Park on the Worcester-Paxton Town Line is an unofficial dog park. Within 2 hours this morning, our camera saw more than 30 dog owners using the ground.
I have been bringing my rescue dogs here for probably 15 years.
Dog owners at Boynton Park Friday say many people, including themselves, would benefit from a Worcester dog park.
Most cities like Worcester have designated areas for dogs to run and play and exercise. Worcester is really well behind the times.
I know how many people have pets in Worcester, especially in the inner city, who desperately need a place to walk them or to have a park. So it's needed. It's been needed for years.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Well, it was a tough week for students at Quabbin Regional High School following the death of one of their classmates. But the week began with a touching moment thanks to the high school boys basketball team. Team manager Joe Savard substituted into a junior varsity game Monday night, and as you can see in this video, he scored a basket. You can hear the crowd give a loud cheer as his shot went in, as you see right there. He scored another basket later in the game. His coach said he had been asking for some playing time all year, and they decided to reward him with this shot in the game. He finished with 4.